You know when you meet somebody for the first time and you feel like you've known them your whole life? Yeah, that's what happened when I met Lady Jaye. She's an entertainer, activist, artist, actor, and a general gal about town. As a musician in the Extraordinary Rendition Band, also known as ERB, she is active in her local community surrounding politics, human rights, the arts, and youth outreach. During last year's Women's March on Washington, you may have seen her on the front of the New York Post and on CNN. We got somebody famous. She was also a contestant on Spike TV's reality show Framework, hosted by the actor Common. As a multidisciplinary artist, her work focuses on the intersection of race and television in pop culture. Please welcome Lady Jaye Jess Brown.
Are we ready for the fight? Yeah! All right, I just want to make sure. Well, we did it. We came out here on this glorious day. We got our feel good on. We got woke. So are we ready to take our country back? Great, but we're not done yet, because now it's my turn. And apologies in advance, because I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Sorry, not sorry. Racism. We are all racist on some level because that's how we were brought up. But in order to move forward, we need to accept our role in it, whether conscious or unconscious, and own it. We need to sit in the discomfort of it all. And yes, it is uncomfortable, but we must acknowledge it, own it, and then course correct. And ladies, just because you drive a Prius with a coexist bumper sticker, bought Beyonce's Lemonade album, and have a Black Lives Matter sign in your window doesn't mean that you're not a racist. Because guess what? The second that a black man in a hoodie is seen walking around your neighborhood, you are the first one to call the police. Yes, I'm talking to you. From the bottom of my heart, I appreciate that we are gathered here together today to discuss how we will persist. But please, let us not forget how we got here. While I am so glad that we marched together in 2017, this is the remix. Let's not forget the original track and how in 1913 we were left out of the first DC Women's March, even though we, black women, have been there, helping to organize, to energize, to write letters, and to garner support. But when it came time to march, we were told, yes, you can march, but you gotta go to the back of the line. Ladies, we are sick and tired of being told to go to the back of the line. You cannot tell us where to go and where we cannot go. But black women have been here in this country doing the heavy lifting for some time. And boo-boos, we are tired. Let me drop it on you like this real quick. On this journey, there are always lessons to be learned. This is how we advance and move on. I've been in activist marches with some of the most aware, well-intentioned human beings, and yet I still often find myself in these awkward moments of having to make a choice. Do I stay or do I go? Let me give you a few examples. Maybe some of this will sound familiar. I was at a rally once to fight against corporate developers coming to take over a neighborhood from local people, and they were angry about it. Rightly so. And then I took a mental head count to find the people of color around me. 1, 2, 3. This was not my fight. And however, it is my everyday. I learned there that not every fight is my fight. At that same rally, the organizer yelled and screamed about how Donald Trump was elected. Since he's been elected, all of these hate groups were now forming because they feel like they can say whatever they want. Seriously? Boo-boo. Because they can't. These groups have always been there, and it didn't just start 2 years ago. But then again, I've known that this was a racist country for 34 years. I'm from Kentucky. I came out of the womb knowing this. I am reminded of this in some way every single day in 100 little ways. Unfortunately, she was just finding out. Must be nice. And sometimes it hits close to home. I had lunch with a longtime dear friend who is as progressive as they come, or so I thought. We had protested together, raged against the machine, marched for the rights of the disenfranchised, the oppressed, the imprisoned, the departed, the deported, and the poor. Yet in the course of that conversation, she casually tossed around the word nigger. It surprised the hell out of me because that was my friend, and she should have known. Hashtag, this is not okay. I was pissed, and rightly so. So a week later, we met, and I had to break it down to her, because this is the work. Yes, it is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable for her, not always for me, because remember, I have to do this every day. But there we were, gloves off, no excuses, no bull, completely raw, tears and all. And we sat there in that discomfort, and then we hugged it out. Because in order to move forward, sometimes you need to be called out. You have to recognize it, examine it, and then sit in the dank, moist truth and ugliness of it all. Because it's there. Ladies, this is the work. And how many times are you going to mistake me for the other black person in the room? Stop. Enough is enough. And you might be saying to yourself, but Jess, that wasn't me. I can't be blamed for that. I'm sure, but while it might not have been you this time, tell me this. Did you ever laugh at a racist joke, even when it wasn't funny? Were you ever silent when you should have stood up for someone who didn't look like you? Did you ever think about how you have benefited or privileged from a system just because you were born white or because you have money? What about those little bitty microaggressions that you commit every day towards people that don't look like you or live where you live? What is your part in this? When planning for this march, one of my fellow organizers was concerned that if she came off too harsh, that some of her fellow white sisters might be uncomfortable and give up and go home because no one wants to feel shame or guilt. Check. Got it. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. But I was baffled by the audacity of this notion that white women get to think that if it's too hard, they get to sit down. Just one more. Did black women have the option to give up when it got too hard during Jim Crow? You know, when their homes were being set on fire, or when we were being lynched, or raped, or denied access to property, voting, education, marriage, rights, jobs, healthcare? How about during the civil rights movement, when we had to walk for miles in the blistering heat and pouring rain during bus boycotts? Was it too hard when we were getting sprayed by fire hoses and beaten by police and mauled by dogs? How about in the 1970s when we were being arrested in Oakland, working to provide free breakfast programs for poor children and opening up community health centers? No, we don't get the privilege to just stop when the work gets hard. And that's not just the past. How soon we forget last month's Alabama Senate race, where black women came out in droves against the former Alabama Supreme Court Judge Roy Moore. If you recall, Moore was accused of assaulting teenage girls. And even in spite of knowing this and other allegations, 63% of white women voted in favor of him. And even in spite, oh sorry, I just said that. And it's a good thing that the sisters came out because they saw the writing on the wall. So in order to tip the balance, black women knew that they had to come out strong in support of Doug Jones. The results, 98% of black women voted against Roy Moore. How did they do it? These women banded together. They organized, they raised money, they registered voters, and in general, they did the work. Ladies, we need to get our house in order. And I need you to understand my fight. Because here it is. As a black woman in America, I have to prepare myself every day to fight against a country that tells me that I don't belong here, that I'm not good enough, or smart enough, or educated enough, and that I have to work twice as hard to get half as far. And because I have to face that every day, I need to know that my squad is strong, and that you have my back. We've got to work together. By ourselves, the burden feels heavy. But if we can just come together, we can lighten the load and share this responsibility. I can assume that most of you live in a place where everyone looks just like you. So I challenge you to step outside of your community and do the hard work that needs to be done. It's scary at first, but you truly can't understand something until you become a part of it. But not to fret, I have hope, and that's why I'm standing here with you today. And to all of you beautiful, fabulous, fly, ferocious, fearless women, men, gender nonconforming, young, old, rich, poor, differently abled, immigrant, indigenous, Christian, Buddhist, agnostic, and everything in between, we the people, we thank you. Thank you for standing out here today on this gorgeous, cold, and beautiful day. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for doing the hard work that needs to be done. Thank you for wanting better. Now let's go take our country back.